March 30th, 2020. Comment ID 137187. Proposed revisions to prohibitions and restrictions on proprietary trading and certain interest in and relationships with hedge funds and private equity funds. R-1694. Is this appropriate for public comment for the Federal Reserve? Considering that the Federal Reserve currently has working what it alleges are 3 interim rules regarding a response to the coronavirus outbreak, it might be prudent to put into place an official acknowledgement of abuses of appropriate public health and national security priorities. It has been reported that a Lion airplane carrying medical personnel in the Philippines went down yesterday, March 29, 2020, killing all 8 people on board. Unfortunately, this is the 3rd specific instance of a passenger airliner going down specific to anticipated and planned defaults in connection with environmental health and safety matters. This goes all the way back to January of 2017, when it was reported that a refugee camp in Kenya had been targeted by a drone strike, resulting in the deaths of numerous people, including those providing health care for refugees. It was not discussed nearly as much as it should have been, nor factored into reporting on the resultant implications that the Lion Air crash in Ethiopia in 2019 was connected to a flight on its way to a UN Food Program conference, and that many of those who died were important to public health care in areas around the world. Now, with this plane crash in the Philippines, we are again exposed to a cycle of factors concerning important deadlines wherein it is obvious that obligations have not been met legally, so as to provide the sort of security needed to prevent against defaults that result in fatalities. This plane crash occurs within 72 hours of the anniversary of Executive Order 13375, wherein the designation of communicable diseases is changed at the behest of the then-sitting president. This executive order is cited along with Executive Order 13295, whose 17th anniversary falls 3 days later, April 4th, in Executive Order 13764 of July 31st, 2014. This is not coincidental. The plane crash is not coincidental. Yet important security functions like those that would be involved with assuring safety in regards to airliner guidance systems and or other electronic communications necessary for safe air travel were potentially compromised by processes of forced cybernetic enhancements that were mischaracterized as health problems is absolutely connected to the proliferation of the coronavirus and its lethality. Refusing to identify it as such and appropriately factor in these realities allows for the accrual of liabilities that cannot be obscured. I contend this is not a communicable disease, but a biological weapon. In order for us to mount an appropriate response, it has to be addressed and confronted as if it were a biological weapon. That does not mean allowing it to be misidentified for public reporting purposes in order to leverage the casualties and other economic damages for insurance underwriting, including in connection with reinsurance schemes that may have been ongoing for years prior to this outbreak. It does include assuring appropriate securitization of necessary health and safety matters through prosecutions for criminal offenses, rather than allowing for the corporate co-conspirators or culpable government officials to permit for civil penalties and fines to be recirculated as operating costs for the corporations of concern. I then acknowledge the time and the date, and then I make a comment after that about the placement in the line of comments